Adventures of Great Rabbit. Wildcat is mean and ferocious. He has big fangs, and his favorite food is rabbit. He has a beautiful long tail that he loves. One day, Wildcat was hungry and wanted to catch and eat Matiguis, the great rabbit.
Great Rabbit is smart and big, and nothing else will do for my dinner.
Wildcat swore by his tail.
Let my tail fall off if I don't catch Great Rabbit.
He went off hunting and ran to find Great Rabbit's tracks. Great Rabbit can sense what others are thinking from a long way off. He knew what Wildcat was up to, so he decided to use his magic power against him. He decided to jump for a mile for each hop. Great Rabbit jumped long and far until the sun went down. He jumped over towns and villages and mountains. Wildcat found Rabbit's tracks, and they stopped in front of a wigwam. Sitting inside was an old chief, solemn and mighty. The only strange thing about him was that he had two big ears sticking out of his head. Wildcat asked him,
Great Chief, did you by chance see a big rabbit running like mad?
Rabbit? Why, of course. There are many rabbits running outside like mad. My village is full of rabbits. Why don't you stay the night and have some great rabbit stew? You can start early in the morning to find your big rabbit.
When Wildcat woke up, he found himself alone in an empty field. He was cold and hungry. He must have been tricked. Even the rabbit stew wasn't real. Wildcat followed Great Rabbit's tracks again in long jumps. This time, he trampled on many trees. He arrived in a large village with busy people everywhere. He followed a woman into a store. Wildcat asked her,
Did you see a very large rabbit here?
There are rabbits everywhere in the city. Wildcat looked around and saw rabbit ears everywhere, but he did not see the great rabbit. Wildcat grew tired in the city and fell asleep. When he woke up, the city was gone, and he found himself freezing in an empty field again. This time, it was snowing. Wildcat followed Great Rabbit's tracks again in long jumps. Wildcat came upon a long house and went inside. He noticed the chief had funny ears. He said,
You know, you look exactly like a rabbit with those ears.
But the chief said that they were feathers and that they always wore their hair like that.
But your nose looks exactly like a rabbit's nose.
But the chief said that last week he smashed his nose. Then the chief gave Wildcat wonderful food and drinks. After eating, he decided that the chief was not a rabbit after all. However, when he woke up, he found that he was only drinking dirty water and the food was rabbit pellets. He had been tricked again. Meanwhile, the great rabbit had only enough magic for one more trick. He came to a great lake and threw a chip of wood into it, and it immediately turned into a great ship with cannons. When Wildcat arrived at the lake, he shouted,
I know you. You are not the captain of that ship. You are Matiguis, the great rabbit. I am coming to eat you.
Wildcat jumped into the lake. The captain indeed was the great rabbit, and he fired the cannons at Wildcat. It didn't matter if the cannons were not real. Wildcat was so scared that he swam back to the shore and ran away. Since Wildcat swore by his tail to catch the great rabbit, his tail fell off, and ever since, the big Wildcat has a short, stumpy tail and is called a bobcat.